Alpha, damage per minute, penetration. All of these values and things sound very big in the aspect of importance on World of Tanks, and they are. Having a tank destroyer with all of those aspects allows you to be incredibly competent and deadly on the battlefield. But those values are only important if the beholder understands how to use them, which is why a lot of people try to grind down tank destroyers, especially beginners try to grind down the 183 as their first line. They make two massive mistakes. The first is they don't realize that to get to the FE2 and 5B183, they have to go through the AT8, AT7, AT15, and Tortoise, which aren't bad tanks, but if you're a beginner, they're probably the most boring and worst tanks to play in the game. I mean, they are awful for beginners to play due to the fact that they have very little alpha, the fact that they're incredibly slow, and any medium can take advantage of you. This is why a lot of players do not understand how to play the 183 and get swept away in the fact that it has alpha and DPM and say, oh, it's the tank I'm going for. Tank destroyers in general are terrible decisions for a beginner to grind. And that's also the fact for mediums and lights. Really, the only class of tank you should be going for is heavies. And it's not a fact of saying you can't go for other lines, but it's the fact of saying you're going to enjoy the game a lot less if you go for tanks that you're not going to understand how to play. You're going to be hurting your teams, and nobody wants that. So, the line that I would definitely suggest to go for, and a very fun line, is the Type 71. This is a vehicle that I've talked about quite a few times on the channel, and there's a main reason why. This is an absolutely fantastic tank. One of the things that beginners forget about is armor. World of Tanks Blitz, which is stupid, does not have the ability to view live armor. I don't know why they need to add this ability, but as of now, if I wanted to look at an STB1's armor, I can't. I can't just... all you have is turret armor and hull armor, which means nothing. I could read you a hull armor of 110 and you think that's awful. However, using this tank hull down, it's great armor. And same for the turret. You think 175 is bad for the average tier 10 pen that sits upwards of 260. So that means nothing. What you need to do if you're a newer player trying to understand armor is make your way to a website like blitzhanger.com, and you can take a look at armor values there, and it'll show you the effective armor that tanks have, especially if you're using their gun depression. The Type 71 is an absolutely fantastic tank for armor, especially on the front and sides because of the track wheel it carries. Not only does this vehicle have armor, but the most important thing is that it has a fantastic gun. This vehicle features okay dispersion, sitting at 0.344, but it features a very solid aiming time at 3.6 seconds, pretty good pen at 363, decent damage per minute, and a very fast alpha at 400, meaning that you can constantly have DPM to deal with your opponents at only a 10-second reload. The other thing about the Type 71 that is absolutely amazing, that allows it to be super fun, is that it can constantly change its playstyle. You can go from quite a mobile heavy, kind of like an IS-4 playstyle, to a hull down tank running improved vertical stabilizers, having 9 degrees of gun depression. It allows a Type 71 for a beginner to have two different playstyles that you can mess around with and learn different types on the battlefield. If you've gotten used to playing like the IS-4 this tank can normally play with the improved suspension, and you've kind of gotten bored of that playstyle, well, no problem. Now you can use it with gun depression and learn how to work a tank hull down on ridge lines like mines or dead rail. It's honestly a super awesome aspect that Wargaming has given this tank, and it definitely allows any new player to experiment with what type of playstyle they like more. Do they like that more Soviet style, I'm gonna rush right in and use my armor and brunt force? Or do they like the more calm and collected approach using gun depression on the Type 71? It's absolutely awesome that Wargaming gave this tank the ability to do that, and it's something that I really like. Now, for a skilled player, I would definitely say using the speed is a lot more important because it allows you to get into the front line a lot faster, and it allows you to use your armor a lot better due to the capabilities of wiggling the tank. This vehicle is actually quite mobile, even though it was changed statistically about maybe 3 months ago on the mobility it carries. It still gets up to its top speed usually, and it's not a slow tank by any means. So here we are, first battle. We have, what do we have up against us? I haven't even looked. We have a 50B, a Jagdpanzer, an E75, and an Object 752. Well, we can see the Object 752 already, and we also got the E75 right in front of us. There you go, nice bounce right on our upper plate. Now that was obviously expected due to the fact that that E75 didn't really aim and he just slapped the shell at my armor, but that's fine. Now this Conqueror's post poking a little bit of a risky position due to the fact that the enemy team does have a Jagdpanzer. Now, that's the Jag spotted in the back, so at this point we know where the Jagdpanzer is, which is something that you will have to keep in mind. Now, I'm going to shoot that Jag because I would much rather clear that enemy tank destroyer that can slap us for 800 rather than the E-75 that really isn't all too much of a threat. This is something that you should definitely use as skills for a beginner, is go for tanks that are deadly. Don't go for tanks that are, you know, in front of you. So let's see, we got the T-92E1 in the back. Let's aim in and get a nice slap into his vehicle. We can see that Jagdpanzer off to the side over there. We also got a bounce for 430. So now I'm going to sit this way. 430. What would do that? Well, the only tank that I think that could do that is the object, 752. So we're going to push forwards because I don't want to deal with that tank's DPM. We can see that the Jag is looking off to our side over here. So for now, I'm just going to wait. We also see that the T-92E1's going to possibly leave that position anyway. So for now, it's a lot more beneficial for me to just wait here and miss the T-92E1. That was actually very, very sad to watch. But we're fine. We're chilling. We've got the AMX 5120 off to the side. We also got the enemy 50B in the back. All right, well, let's go for a shell into the Jag and aiming. There you go. Very easy shot. You can see where the accuracy on this vehicle is not bad by really any means. It gets the job done, it's decent, and the penetration's also very good, allowing me to cut directly through that Jagdpanzer E100. At this point, we've done okay. We've been able to deal over 2,200 damage, and we are, what it looks like, coming out with a victory at this point. The enemy team has 4 vehicles left, which is not the most, but maybe we could get a little bit more damage out. Got the AMX 50B off to the side. We got the T-92E1 over here. Oh, that was a weird shot. I guess that was just a bit of lag making that shell miss, but we still got a nice 155 slap into his vehicle. At this point, even though the T-92E1 is probably going to get a pen into us, it doesn't really matter all too much because we have 2,700 hit points. I can just easily use the hit points this vehicle has and just chill here. We're going to clear the 50B, which is a very, very deadly autoloader, and now let our Sheridan, as you can see, finish off the enemy T-92E1. At this point, we've dealt a pretty solid chunk of damage, over 3,000 with the RAM we've got added in. All that's left is the enemy 752 all the way in the back here, and unfortunately our T100 LT did kind of block our shell there, but that should be all fine. We're just going to make our way straight over towards the 752, right over the bridge. You can see this is where that mobility on the Type 71 is actually quite nice. We're going 37, which is our top speed, right over towards his vehicle, and at this point all we want to do is get one more pen out, which we easily slapped into the 752, breaking another 3,000 barrier, and there you go. A very easy victory for our first game. This is a great example of what allows the Type 71 to be solid. We didn't really get to showcase the armor, but we were able to showcase the mobility and the very solid gun stats that this vehicle has. While it's definitely not the most accurate Tier 10 out there, it's definitely not the least accurate either, and it's a heck of a lot better than an IS-7 gun, an IS-4 gun. Even though the IS-4 does feature more penetration, this vehicle features much better on-movement dispersion, which actually allows it to be aimed in a lot sooner than the IS-4. So for the first game, we did 3,500 damage and finished top on the team. Now, obviously, as a beginner, you can't expect to do that every battle, but it is something that you can do, as you can see, quite easily, as long as you understand the positioning of this tank. So here we are, battle number 2. We have up against us an IS-7, a vehicle that's normally a big threat, but against the Type 71, the IS-7 actually really struggles to penetrate it due to the way the penetration works on that vehicle. So that's something that's absolutely fantastic about the Type 71. We are also up against 2 Jagdpanzers, though, which kind of defeats the happiness I have about the IS-7 due to the fact that Jags have over 418 millimeters of heat pen, if the fact that they are running calibrated. So something you also should keep in mind. Alright, well, we are going to start off by playing quite aggressive. You can see that our mobility is allowing us to stay at our top speed of around 35, 36. What we're going to do is we're going to use that mobility to make our way right over here. This is a pretty decent position. That way we can stop anybody that is in base C from continuing to push up. There you go. Nice shot into the enemy E100 already. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to see if we can get any more slaps out. 3 more seconds, we're going to have another shell. 3, 2, 1, and there's the E100, showing me his massive lower plate. At this point, even though though I did ignore the base cap, which you might wonder why. Why would you ignore the base cap when you could have gone for it? Well, it's a pretty simple reason. I was able to get out a very solid chunk of damage very early on because of that, which allowed us to not only halt the enemy on a lot of the base cap they had, but as well get some pretty decent chunks out. So you can see the 100 over here. We also got the Yag, though, which we're going to aim in on. The Yag is, as I went over, a very, very deadly threat at the beginning of this battle. So for now, the Yag is probably going to try and shoot us, but as you can see, missed a very easy shot on us. We're going to not even bother shooting the Yag. As of now, I think it's more important to deal with tanks like the Patton over here, so let's aim it on him. And that was an interesting shot. I don't really know why that didn't pen the guy, but welcome to World of Tanks Blitz. All right, well, as you can see, we do have the enemy IS-7 off to the back over here, and with that, our team is not doing great. So we're going to get a shell tracking the enemy IS-7. While my Yag's turning around, I'm going to stay this way and try and help out, but our Kron is really not understanding how he should be positioning his vehicle. So I'm going to try and do some decent work here. I'm going to try and hold so that the C-100 and FE-2-5B get a bit more distracted on me, rather than dealing with the big old bad boys. So we got another shell into that 2-5B. We're going to keep on wiggling, and you can see this is where the armor on the Type 71 is fantastic. It allows me to get a crazy amount of bounces, and we're going to get another pen right into that FE-2-5B, bringing him down to a one-shot. Now we're going to keep on backing up, baiting the C-100 as far out as possible, and at this point, now the E-100 learns his lesson for driving so far out. We're going to get a heat shell, bonk it into his lower plate, and finish him off. Now at this point we got the M40 Patton, and we also got a lot of death here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull forwards this way. We are going to get shot by the Patton, it looks like possibly once, but at the same time I'm going to try and help out over here now. We can see that the IS-7 has been able to clear my teammate, and ooh, we got a nice lucky bounce there. We got the Jagdpanzer driving out over here. My teammate gets the pen in, and now I'm going to try and take the shell from my teammate. Nice, look at that. Once again, the armor on this vehicle doing its job, getting us some nice bounces. I'm going to aim it on the side of the Yag, and even though the IS-7 is probably going to shoot me in the rear, I could really care less, because we're going to get to the side of this Jagdpanzer, allowing my 268 version 4 to finish him off. And at this point, a game that looks like a loss is actually turning out to be a pretty solid victory. At this point, I'm going to push over towards the IS-7 and hopefully be able to finish him off. This is where having that mobility on the Type 71 allows you to be quite mobile and deal with your enemies. We got the Sheridan off to the side over here, and that Sheridan did unfortunately finish off my teammate. But what we're going to go for is the Patton, who we did manage to pen a shell into, but it looks like the Patton is actually AFK. What that means is I'm going to turn around and start aiming towards the Sheridan off to the side. Okay, well, we are up on 2 base caps at this point, so I'm just going to be very careful. There you go, nice. We caused the Sheridan to lose his shell, and at this point, is the Patton still AFK? Yes, he is. Alright, well, the Patton being AFK, at this point we are up on base capture, which means that this Sheridan is in a world of trouble, especially because both of the bases I have captured are right in front of me. Really, all I need to do at this point in time is just kind of wait here. I don't really think that Sheridan can do anything. So, for now, we're just going to wait. I don't know where the Sheridan's planning on going. Oh, I didn't think that Sheridan was going to go through there, but it's not going to matter. We're up to 910 on the base capture at this point, so it's a victory nonetheless. Even if the Sheridan runs away, maybe he's going to go and try capture base D. It doesn't really make much of a difference. We've done enough damage. We've done enough this game. This is another great example of the Type 71 being just a fantastic tank. The vehicle features so much going for it, as you saw the armor against players like that E100 and 215B, which sure, might not be the most skilled players, but the majority of tier 10 battles you play are not up against the most skilled players, which allows the armor on this tank to be just incredibly powerful. And even though the Sheridan does hit us, it doesn't matter. We got our victory on 1,000 base cap, and there you have it. This is just a great example of where the Type 71 is such a competent and amazing tank at getting the job done. We were able to deal, I have no clue, but yeah, there you go, 4,700 damage, 2,400 blocked, and even pull out an ace. Once again, just an amazing job from the Type 71. This vehicle is fantastic. It's definitely a tank I would suggest to grind as a beginner, but it's up to you. Hopefully you enjoyed today's video. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.